Welcome to Great Talk and Entertainment. I'm your host, KJ, and this is the podcast where we review movies and TV shows from all your favorite superheroes, including Marvel Comics, DC Comics, and much more. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Let's go, baby! This is going to be my spoiler review for the new movie Wakanda Forever, which is now available on Disney Plus, DVD, and 4K and other more. So, if you have not seen this film, please pause this, go watch it because it's really great. It's beautiful. You should be watching this and come back because, again, this is a spoiler review. So, you've been warned. So, let's get into it. The film starts with Shuri saying a prayer, and I quote, "Boss, time is running out. Please allow me to heal my brother off this illness, and I will never question your existence." End quote. Already showing us this film is about revenge and grief of a lost one. Out of respect for Chadwick Boseman, they just called it an illness. They never really explained, and they're not going to use his real life battle for cancer in this film for a Marvel story. And I really appreciate that because it's something private. That's something people who do battle cancer like he did, and not just movie stars, but anybody. That is a personal thing, and I just would not. I don't think that would be acceptable to use to end a fictional character, basically. So I definitely really respect Marvel Studios and the director Ryan. I forgot his last name, but I apologize. I respect them for not doing that. So thank you, Marvel, for doing that, and I really appreciate that. And the director of Wakanda Forever. So back to the review. Sherry's trying to recreate the herb that they use. It's the herb that they use to pass the mantle to Black Panther if they can survive it. And she's trying her best, and you see it's very high intense. And you see this AI named, what's his name? Goit, Goit, which is played by Trevor Noah, which that's really awesome. I like him. I like that guy. But he's, the AI is telling him, hey, this is, time's running out. Here's the percentage. And she's trying, and as soon as she gets her machine to recreate it, it's too late. As you see Shuri's mother come down and say, hey, your brother's with the ancestors now. And you see an all-white funeral, which represents like grief, celebration of life or afterlife. And then the clips, you see this funeral, you see this amazing, beautiful casket. And it has the Black Panther graphics design on it. And you see the tribe of Wakanda doing one of their tribal dances. And I tell you what, it was a very tear jerking, like, feel like it was pulling my heart, tugging the strings of my tears. And it was a beautiful thing because it goes into the Marvel's introduction logo, which I really appreciate this. It was all purple, like the herb, honoring Boseman, with clips of him from each movie, the Black Panther movie, of course, and graphics and actual behind the scenes of Chadwick Boseman, just smiling, interacting with some of the other cast members. I really appreciate that. And of course, they had different quotes that he has said in this movie as T'Challa, and I think that's really cool. And again, it was tugging the heart. The tears were coming out of my eyes. I had the Kleenex, so it was definitely one of those film, and it really set the tone of just trying to move forward with this and what this film's going to take us, of course, right? And now they continue on with the film, and the world knows that the death of Black Panther. They know that Wakanda is quote unquote is weak. There's an opening spot to attack. And we know that everybody in the world, every government from the United States to other countries all over the world, and like example, the French try to attack Wakanda and steal their vibraniums, and obviously they failed because those women there who are like the soldiers, the protectors, that you don't want to mess with them. And you see Shuri slash Black Panther, T'Challa's mom, Ramonda goes to the one of those like court meetings with like international governments and stuff, and they were just having a discussion of like how Wakanda's failing to participate in helping the world by sharing the resources they have. And she points out that, hey, the lady that was representing the French government say, hey, you send some of your soldiers over here, and they brought them all tied up and stuff to prove the point that you say all this, but we're not weak. Just because Black Panther, the king, is dead doesn't mean that we're weak. You just can't come in and take what you want. Like you don't deny them, don't mess with them type thing. And at the same time, we see that in that scene is that we see that there's a plot growing basically. Sorry. And this obviously, in that scene, they kind of in this whole film they left that part alone a little bit, just because they're saving it for maybe the next Marvel film, whether it's Wakanda 2 or whatever it may be. For example, after the French try to attack them, they go to a scene where they finally introduce Namor, where he makes his debut in the MCU. So it's Namor and the tribe called Kukulkan, Kukulkay, I believe. And this should show their powers and abilities. And it's just like the Mayan. It's a feather serpent god, and they also pray to as well. And some of them can use singing / echoes like a mermaid in the mythology. And when they do that, it kind of like hypnotizes people to, walk towards them. And in this, they fall into the water and drown, but or crash their ship or whatever. And you see that because we learn that Wakanda is not the only place that has vibranium. And in this film, we learn that they didn't even know that other places had vibranium. And it's very interesting because it seems like even without Steve Rogers, Captain America, and Vision. Well, we have the all white Vision now, but it seems to me that story, because again, this film obviously was more about Wakanda. This was more focusing on Namor and his tribe wanting to go to war with the whole world, not for the vibranium, but more of protecting their secrets, protecting what they done underwater. Because in this film, after we find out that Bree Williams / Ironheart makes her debut in the MCU, and she's the one who invented the machine to detect vibranium. And now, if you remember in the first Black Panther film, when they were walking into that nightclub, underground gambling section, they had all their weapons because all their stuff's made out of vibranium, and the metal detector didn't go off. Well, Ironheart, she did, and she did it just for fun. She just to prove a point that because everybody, I guess, like one of her professors, so there's no way it's impossible. And she is somebody who's very smart and intelligent, and she went to prove him wrong. And some way, somehow, the U.S. government got the hands of it and figured it out. And so Namor was really more mad about he wanted to kill this scientist, and you find out it's just a 19-year-old girl in college in Chicago, and Wakanda people were gonna protect her no matter what. And let me just say that I think that was just really cool because, like I said, they mentioned the vibranium, but again, this film was staying on the task between Wakanda and Namor, and his tribe. And at the end, we see that after all this battle, Ramonda, she passes away because Namor drowns her, but she makes the ultimate sacrifice to save Rhea Williams, and then that was important to save her. And this shows you that even she, because she's from the older generation, and she made she saved an outsider, which if you see in Black Panther, everybody was against saving the outsider, aka Killmonger. So it's kind of like a parallel type thing, but obviously it's in the same universe. But you just see how times have changed, her attitudes changed since the loss of her son T'Challa to the illness. And we see that now Shuri's queen of Wakanda, and she takes the herb and becomes the new Black Panther. Now, I thought there was going to have multiple ones, but I think it's better now just to stick with Shuri for now. I'm not saying there couldn't be another female to hold the Black Panther mantle, but I just like how they kept that because, again, this was a movie honoring Black Panther, T'Challa, aka Chadwick Boseman, and I think that was more important. And again, it might have overlapped some stuff. It seemed kind of clumpy with a lot of storylines going on, but I think it's not very super noticeable, and I don't really care. That's just something I notice, that they would jump back to story, like for example, like Val, what's her name? Val. La, 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 la. Here's my notes. Valentina. She was somebody who was there. Obviously, she appeared in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier and the Black Widow movie from the Phase 4, and obviously this is Phase 4 as well. But so this is what she's going on, but she wasn't really concerned about what Namor or who Namor was. She was more about how can we get to this vibranium. That's all she was considering about. And sometimes that kind of clumped up to the story of like there's gonna be a war, because even they, like, you think she's gonna put her difference to the side, like, of her hidden agenda, but she really didn't. Which, okay, I get it. She's either friend or foe. We don't know yet. So that's one thing I like. I kind of there, but it's not nothing really noticeable because, again, they never really answered it, and I figured they wouldn't with the vibranium because, again, that's more. That's going to be more with the Captain America film. This is more closer to Steve Rogers, Sam Wilson, Bucky. So I get that. Yes, in Black Panther too, of course, but more or less the Val, she's going to be more into those Captain America movies and any other show that's related within those comic book related things. So, like Secret Invasion, for example. So that's what I get out of that, but nothing too big. Again, they stayed on track with the plot of the movie, and I really appreciate that. So nothing too bad. Again, I 1 out of 10. I'm giving this a film a 10. So I'm just gonna get that out the way. So let's break down some things that I with some important highlights of this film. So Killmonger scene. So again, this film was about angry, having revenge, grief, and Shuri was very angry. And out of everything she saw, right, she gets Killmonger. Now, why do I think that? So we know in the Black Panther movie, the first one, and then Moon Knight, and then Thor: Love and Thunder, the afterlife is a different ballpark. So you can either be accepted or not accept or exiled from it. So look at Black Panther, T'Challa, and then T'Challa's dad and Shuri's dad. Right? They both got to be in that field with the other former Black Panthers. Right? This is where Ramonda is at, right? And because you see at the end of the film where Shuri's, at the choice where she's either gonna, stab Namor to death and end his life, or let him go, because when she's talking to Killmonger, she's not really. The reason why she was exiled like Killmonger, because she had grief. She hasn't confronted her grief. She hasn't processed the death of her brother, and she was very heartbroken and mad and angry that her mother was killed or drowned to death, basically. And this just proves that, yeah, she's like her cousin, but she hasn't really confronted her feelings. She's never really processed them through. And so now she's going blind off her emotions, so she's not seeing things or thinking things very clearly. And that's the example of the Killmonger scene. And even in the show Moon Knight, you see Moon Knight get to that field, which is exactly like where T'Challa was at, and I that's where T'Challa's at right now in the afterlife. Just like the Valhalla thing, like only way you're gonna get in Valhalla is you gotta die in an honorary death of the battle, right? So again, it pretty much it's kind of like your soul and conscience has to be cleared, has to be clean, basically. And again, Shuri, her character, they portrayed her as a typical, like a stereotype of a person who believes in science. Like she didn't really believe in her, like the religious part of Wakanda. Like she didn't believe that, that this afterlife exists, because she's into science. She believes in science. She sees that science has improved technology. She's seen that science has done this and that. And because in the scene, she wasn't trying to regrow the herbs when her mom asked her to. She was focusing more on making better weapons, making better shields, armor, and stuff. That's why you saw the Midnight Angel suits. This is why you see, like, the spears were getting replaced. Like, it was all hinted to it. So for her to come to, it's kind of like a non-believer becoming a believer type scenario, which is really cool, I think. And because like non-believers, like if you look at the Moon Knight series, when all three of his personalities basically were in the afterlife, all of his personalities kind of, subconsciously, it was the the mental house. It was the 8th floor, straight jacket team. For Kilmore, it was his old apartment in California, where he walked into his dad dead. For Sherry, it was the where her mother was drowned at, and she was in the water. She swam out, and she was wearing her funeral dress or gown or whatever they may call it. So it has a lot of those elements because it's either there's two things that Marvel wants you to believe. Either one, that when people die, they're not dead, but they live on into another afterlife of its own universe, or two, it's like they're subconscious and they already have the answers within them. Because maybe Killmonger is actually dead, or he's alive, like alive as in like he's in the afterlife, like he exists in the MCU, but he's in the afterlife of the MCU. So it depends, and I don't think they're gonna truly answer that for us in a clear decision. I could be wrong because again, it's when they get to like these things, like for example, we have Guardian of the Galaxy Volume 3 this year. Okay, that's gonna deal with the afterlife. This is what you'll see. You'll see what I mean. But they may not answer that. So it all depends on that part. But more likely, they're gonna like let us, the audience, kind of decide that, okay, in the MCU, this is how the afterlife is being perceived. So again, here's another example where Shuri and her mother were having a moment, right? Her mom was explaining to her like she saw T'Challa. He was in the winds. He's in the trees. He's in the ground. He's in the grass. Like he felt her hand on her. He felt his hand on her shoulder, guiding her, not pushing her, but pressing forward with her. But maybe, Killmonger was something like for Killmonger and Shuri is maybe there was a different type of hand, like that was leading them into anger and revenge because they kind of addressed her first time quoting, I just want the world to burn and everybody in it type thing. I'm pretty sure she quoted it differently like that, but Killmonger brought that up. You can either look at it that was just her subconscious talking back to her because she felt guilty for saying that, which she probably did, or this was like a dark evil hand, aka the Marvel character Mephisto could be part of it, but we don't know that. But that's what this type of film is presenting, the idea of what the afterlife is. And what I gotta say about that, I think that was an important thing. I think this is cool and very intriguing. So to me, this tells me that somewhere in the future, in the next Marvel phase, they're gonna explore certain Marvel characters that are like deities that are still alive or exist. For like Namor's Namor, they like Namor. He prays to the Mayan, which we saw that God in Thor: Love and Thunder. So again, it depends how they're gonna go with it. We know like Zeus exists. We know other gods exist. So maybe down the line we know Hercules exists. Let me put that in there. So there's somewhere down the line that we're gonna get something like that. It's gonna be a group like that. More like the Eternals, more powerful than Thor, more serious and less goofy than the Guardian of the Galaxy. So that's where I kind of get the idea that there's something bigger than this going on, and they just haven't released it. So, let's talk about Ironheart. R-I-R-I Williams. So I'll just call her Ree. Ree, obviously they did the Iron Man tribute because her whole suit was just like it, and I thought it was really cool. Like, she never flown her suit, right? And she's flying up all the way to the sky, and she hold her breath, and she took the shot on that airplane that was kind of tracking them, or jet plane, or whatever it was. It was a flying drone, basically, type thing, and I think that was cool because, like, if you watch the first Iron Man, when Iron Man did that, he froze and all his machine got cold, and she also knew what limit she could go. So she really studied. This shows that she studied Tony Stark, or read things about him, right? So very cool. Or the scene where how she built the full functional Ironheart suit, and I just think that was very cool. How she showed, like, because they went in the water and she helped people out. When Iron Man, he was testing all that out, and he failed a lot of those things. He made all the mistakes, and it looked like she studied from him, and I just think that's really cool. And obviously, like, I have no idea why, but when the FBI came, they're like, "Oh shit, that she's got an Iron Man suit." Like, that reminds me of let's see, what was it? Not Spider-Man No Way Home, but Spider-Man Far From Home, where Spider-Man was wearing his Iron Spider-Man suit, and one of the cops is like, "Are you the new Iron Man?" Like, now it seems like that's an ongoing joke or gag joke or whatever. But that's pretty funny to me. I just want to point that out. But it seems like they're gonna have more of things like that with her. She also, again, she did like when she was using the hammer and beating down some of the metal plates or whatever, vibranium plates. She doing the Iron Man thing. Like, this thing, she represent Iron Man tribute. That was very cool. Now, she's very smart. She's definitely going to be in the Young Avengers, and I cannot wait to see that. Again, they did this thing where she can't take the suit because it has Wakanda material technology. So, but she did get her car fixed that her dad built, and again, they're saving that story for the Ironheart series. With the actor who played her, I forgot her name, so I apologize, but I think she really executed this character very well, and again, that made it very intriguing. It made me hopefully makes audience more curious and more about her. And with this Ironheart series, I hope they give a good background of her past and origin of it, and hopefully it's more than one season. Hopefully there's a lot of episodes, at least 20 episodes. That'd be cool. Yeah, that'd be cool. Because again, there's so much with the Ironheart, and there can be so much. So, and now we've seen one version of her Ironheart suit. Now she's got to make another one, which is going to be very different, from what I heard and what I read. Right, so. I can't wait to see that. I can't wait to see what else she had for that. And obviously they're saving that. So, but I think that's really cool. They kind of changed her up a little bit from the comic books, but that's an obvious thing. But I cannot wait to see more of this. And I can't wait to see her interact with other Marvel characters like Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and all that. Very teenagerish, not teenager, but young adultish, because she's 19. They confirmed that in the MCU. So there's that. let's talk about Valentina Allegra. A-L-E-E. No, wait, sorry. Allegra. But I was going to say Val just to make it easy for everybody. Is she friend or foe? Again, this film, when I said earlier, they had so many other stories going on that sometimes it kind of clumped up a little bit. And this is a perfect example. Obviously they're not gonna reveal whether she's friend or foe in this film, but I feel like maybe this is the thing where maybe some of her scenes shouldn't have been cut out because it was very confusing. But nothing like this is not like a complaint about it, but again, it at first I thought she was gonna be a friend, but now I think she's gonna be a foe. If I would bet more on the foe. I think she's gonna be a foe. I think she's gonna be the bad guy, the villain. Because again, with her and K. Ross, Agent Ross, he was they were kind of arguing about what would it be like if the U.S. owned all the vibranium, and she goes, "I dream of that every day," and I'm just curious, like what she means by that, and I'm pretty sure it's very villain-like type. But then again, she flirts with him, so I don't know if they have a love relationship gonna happen. Like, is this where? Because okay, yeah, she can be those characters where she can be on your side or against you. She has, it seems like that character has that, kind of like how Loki was. Like Loki was the villain at first, but now he's kind of like the hero, but he can always go back to being the villain. And I think that's what's going to be happening with this Val character. So nothing really much. I just think I know the actor. She was in the new movie You People on Netflix, and obviously from Seinfeld. And she really brings this character to life. That even like this is a character not everybody. It's not a mainstream character. So I think this actor, I forget her name. I apologize, but I think this character is going to be very popular to the audience around the world. So I'm rooting for this character a lot too. I hope that she can be as top level as like as popular as Nick Fury is, like who's played by Samuel Jackson. So a lot of hope on her on that, and obviously we'll see her again in the Thunderbolts. I don't think. No, actually, I changed my mind. I do think we'll see her again in the Ant-Man and Wasp Girl Quantumania movie. I think we'll see her again, at least in the post-credit scenes or somewhere within the movie. So there's that. Let's talk about Namor. Man, Namor. So in this film, Namor obviously, he's actually a lot older than Steve Rogers, Captain America. And then explains why he ages so slow. He ages, but he ages so slow. So, the vibranium concept is very odd, but they drink it, right? And some reason they turn blue. And then they lost the ability to breathe air until they go in the water, like a fish, basically. Now, not all of them had Gil, but he was born. Like, his mom was pregnant, and she drank it, and all that stuff. And his mom died right before he was, like, just a boy. He was just a little boy. And, obviously, he's child without love. And he doesn't love the land. He doesn't like people. Obviously, they changed Namor's origin story a lot, just so people don't get confused with him and DC's character Aquaman. And I think that was important for Marvel Studios, and I think they truly really worked hard on that, and I think they executed that. and I really like how they went with this. Obviously, he's the word mutant, so they're now they're using that. Now they're dropping the word mutant in movies, in the Marvel movies, which is awesome, right? So what I think about this character is I think obviously again they executed this character well. They kept him alive, and I really hope to see more of him, Namor. I really hope, because this gives them an excuse to, uh, when they don't want to use the Wakanda story on other Marvel films, Namor could interact with other, because obviously he can just, whatever there's water, he can get there. Whatever he can go, like he can ride on whales, different type of whales. So there, obviously, the MCU is also, to me, it's telling me that there's gonna be some giant sea creatures that are gonna appear in the MCU. They're gonna be bigger than whales. Like, I'm talking about like Loch Ness monster type things, giant squids or octopus, whatever version, or both versions, right? I'm talking about all that. I think maybe the mythical underwater creatures, like dinosaur type creatures that may still exist deep down in the ocean, because he explains that when he drank that stuff, it helps his body, like he moves differently. That's why he has the wings on his ankles, and now they got ripped off. And I bet you they're gonna keep them off. I highly doubt they'll explain that they regrow. But he's so quick, he's so strong, because he punched Homeboy in the chest, and he cracked some ribs. So he's like, he has that Superman strength, because this is like, even Steve Rogers, Captain America, and like Bucky Barnes, uh, even like well, maybe the Hulk, except the Hulk. That they even Steve Rogers couldn't punch that hard. Like, he punched, he'd beat you up, right? But Hulk, obviously, his strength comes from the gamma ray, but Namor's all, technically it's like natural strength now for him. But he can crack your chest, he can crack your ribs, he can crack your bones with one punch, like Superman style. Like, that's crazy, and they teased it with that one hit. That tells me that this dude is he's gonna be around for a while, and I think he's gonna be more villain. He's gonna be somebody. He's gonna be other Marvel characters' villains as well, like maybe within the X-Men. You never know. You don't know, but obviously he has this big plan to get revenge. Like, he never really. He has Wakanda thinking they're allies and they're going to protect their secrets, but he's going to turn on them, because he truly, he knows that Wakanda is going to have to go to war against the world, and that's when Namor is going to use his diabolic plan to expand his kingdom, and that's what he wants. And so his story's not over, which is great. Um, let's talk about some other stuff that I just wanted to point out. The Midnight Angels. So we see Okoye, Okey. She's no longer, which I don't understand. Well, probably under her mother's wish. That's why Shuri didn't re-demote her. But she's not in charge. She can't go back because she failed to protect Shuri or getting captured for Namor and the Ironheart as well. But now she's part of it, which this something like this did happen in the comic books. But what I think about that is, this gives this character a chance to go beyond just Black Panther movies, obviously Wakanda movies or whatever. This gives them to use her in other Marvel character movies or shows, like think about it. She could show up in, the Captain America New World Order. She can show up in Secret Invasions. She could show up in Low-Key Season 2. Like, it can happen, right? Well, maybe not too far. Maybe I over-exaggerated, but that'd be cool, I guess. And then they use the word incursion. That's something I just wanted to point out. They use that word in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness with Reed Richard from the Fantastic Four in a different multiverse. And obviously Namor is part of the famous comic book story from Marvel, the Illuminati. And I bet you some way, somehow, that's still gonna happen. They're still gonna do this Illuminati thing, obviously in a different way, because they already set the tone in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. So this is gonna be, I think they're still gonna use this story. I think they're gonna find a different way. So again, this is like another thing I can see. And then they recently released a deleted scenes. I saw it on IGN's YouTube channel, but I'm pretty sure you can see that on the Disney Plus. But Oki, right? I think maybe it was her dad, or maybe the father-in-law, whatever. He was kind of like, hey, you should battle. You should be Queen of Wakanda, because Shuri's not stable. She's not mentally ready yet because of her loss of her brother and mother. But they cut that out for one reason, but they put it out there. But I beg to differ. I think they made it cut that scene out in the film for whatever reason, obviously just to shorten it down. But I bet you they'll come back to that story. They'll come back to that. I bet you that is going to be a thing. I bet that's going to be a thing. They planted a seed for us to be on the lookout for, but I think that's a story that they're going to come back to in the near future. So there was a lot going on in this film, a lot of Marvel breakdowns, but this was really good. I think, again, this is a really exciting, and again, they did well. So, again, I gave this movie 1 out of 10. I'm giving this a 10. I think all these things are gonna be great. So, here's the 3 things we gotta look out: the Vibranium, the Midnight Angels, and then Ironheart. So those are the things we gotta be looking out for in the next future, because we know the Young Avengers are coming and they're set in stones, but who's gonna be the main villain or main antagonist? So that's my review. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Great Talk and Entertainment official channel. Subscribe, hit that notification button so you can always be up to date with all the latest content. Thank you, and peace.